Hi folks, this is Tony for aminutetomidnight.com. We've all grown up with science fiction where robots and artificial intelligence plays a big role in the sci-fi future, with robots good and robots bad and artificial intelligence evil or good. But the reality is that we are rapidly approaching much of that science fiction becoming the actual reality and potentially the demise of human beings. And you cannot close the gate once the horse has already bolted, and yet in many ways I think that has already happened. And I'm sure we've all seen the types of movies and TV programs in the past where you have a big brother type entity watching over and surveilling everyone and bringing everyone under control of some wicked regime. And again, that is no longer really just science fiction. It is happening more and more in the world today and will grow, I believe.
Yes, it's called World Robot Conference, widely known as the Olympic Games in robots industry.
And we see robots like this particular one, which appears somewhat cumbersome and slow still, but look at the dexterity that is developing and the fact that they are creating robots that will do these sort of tasks like this one here. It's still amazing what is being done by these robots and how these tasks, just menial tasks, could actually take away work from human beings as this progresses more. And the thing that I find also very interesting is how much you are seeing robots being spoken of as if they are a living being and calling them he or she rather than being an it, almost as if they are a new living species that humans will have to coexist with. But with the rapid rise in the development of artificial intelligence, it is a worry that they could become not servants, but masters.
We are looking forward to a better future with our help and build friendship with you guys.
The use of artificial intelligence, robotics and surveillance cameras in combination is already beginning to be put into place in parts of the world in policing and in the military. And we will look at some of that in this video. Folks, no one can deny that we live in a digital world where computers are used for just about everything, where we have connectivity with just about everything, and where smart devices control just about everything, and that is just in the early stages. It's going to get far more controlling and invasive than anything we've seen yet, and there are people behind the scenes, powerful people that want control. It's more for them about control than it is about gaining more wealth than they already have in their opulent lifestyles. They want control. And that is why cash is being spoken of as being bad, and governments want control. Governments want to be able to track and trace everything, where they could eventually pretty much tax you into oblivion if they don't like you, or worse, they can cut off your ability to buy, sell and trade entirely if you speak against the system or are a dissenter or refuse to go along with a dystopian New World Order, for example. AI and its potential role in all of this. Well, this is an interesting article from Yahoo Finance. Robot that thinks for itself from scratch brings forward rise the self-aware machines. The rise of self-aware robots has become a major step closer following the invention of a machine capable of thinking for itself from scratch, scientists have said. Engineers at Columbia University claim to have smashed one of the biggest barriers in the field of robotics after a mechanical arm, which had not been programmed with any instructions, began performing practical tasks after just a few hours. The team said that this is the first time a robot has shown the ability to imagine itself, thereby working out what its purpose is and how to perform it. So the rise of AI is also increasing, and to a worrying level really. You can see potential dangers in that. And if you couple AI with a global surveillance state, well, look at the potential nightmares. Look at China, for example, with its 200 million cameras, surveillance cameras, and its social credit score, and everyone is monitored to the max, and they can use that monitoring against you in terms of employment and all sorts of other persecutions that they can imagine in a totalitarian governmental system.
Artificial intelligence-based predictive crime systems, autonomous patrol vehicles, and unmanned police stations are just a few of their futuristic initiatives.
I am a humanoid service robot.
Planned to be built in all of Dubai's neighbourhoods are the world's first smart police stations, which will be completely unstaffed.
Notice in this next piece how the robot will charm a human being. It's almost, again, like indoctrinating people subtly into welcoming their own demise at the hands of what could at some point become, well, dare I say it, self-aware machines as artificial intelligence develops towards singularity.
I am the latest incorporation to Dubai's police department.
But unlike the movies,
Hello.
he'll kill you with kindness.
You have really pretty eyes.
I think I'm getting hit on by a robot. Do you think I'm beautiful?
Yes, I love talking with you.
Thank you.
You are absolutely astoundingly gorgeous, and it's the least interesting thing about you.
Oh!
My sensors detect a paparazzi among us. Guess who it is?
It's him.
Flirting aside, the head of artificial intelligence for Dubai Police sees the future with AI and robotics very much at its heart.
Behind it is the artificial intelligence, so it can see you, it has a facial recognition, so it can identify the person in front of him and send all the live feeding to the command and control system. We do have a project, what we call it Dubai Eye, where we have integrated all the CCTV cameras across the city. And on top of that, we're gonna build a smart system where it has a facial recognition. It's so difficult to monitor more than 10,000 cameras in the city. So we have an intelligence system where we can analyze a live feeding from those cameras and can predict also, and it can identify all kinds of activities, especially the wanted people.
This is Atlas from Boston Dynamics. Look how amazingly agile this robot now is. The developments of Atlas have been astounding in the last few years. It is probably the most advanced humanoid robot in the world that we know of anyway. As you can see, humanoid-looking robots like Atlas are becoming better at traversing difficult terrain, and while I'm sure people will say, well, they could be useful in search and rescue and so on, I don't think it takes too much imagination to see them involved in other roles, such as soldiers or policing in the future. And while we can't assign human emotions like anger and annoyance to robots because they are just machines, how long will it be until robots like Atlas acquire the software programming to become, or develop their own artificial intelligence in the future, to become like this next robot, a Russian robot? And really, isn't that what many people fear? robots being militarized and armed with artificial intelligence becoming completely rogue, where humans can become a target of soulless machines. And actually, in a way, that fear is articulated in this parody that was done about Boston Dynamics' Atlas robot. It is a parody, though it's very realistic. It's actually not a real robot. It was done with CGI. Here we see them definitely assigning robots with agenda, which of course a robot can't have, but maybe that is part of the agenda, and they're using words like coexist, same word as they're using for the uniting of religions. Let's not forget that robots do not have feelings, they don't have real emotions, and yet people are being conditioned to accept them as part of society, as if they were an actual living being. Most of you will be aware of how authoritarian the Chinese government is and how much they are cracking down with surveillance. And in this article, it's titled "China Turns to Robotic Policing." It says, at Beijing's Tiananmen Square, stun gun wielding robots patrol crowds of tourists. While the robots negotiate their own path along designated routes, the stun guns are activated by an officer controlling the bot remotely. In Zhengzhou, the capital of China's central Henan province, similar police robots that look like armless Daleks roam the high-speed train station. They use facial recognition software to help officers identify suspects, interact with customers and answer their questions. Police officers at the station wear facial recognition sunglasses developed by Beijing-based tech company LL Vision, which pick out fake IDs and identify wanted criminals. And in the central metropolis of Wuhan, the Ministry of Public Security has teamed up with tech giant Tencent to develop a fully automated police station driven by the latter's AI technology. In many ways, the Chinese surveillance state is a kind of testing ground for the rest of the world. This article in the Daily Mail says Chinese citizens must pass a facial recognition test to use the internet as part of Beijing's social credit system. Citizens of China must have their faces scanned to have the internet installed. The rule is part of China's social credit system and will take effect on December the 1st. Authority claimed the move could help improve the nation's internet security. China has been building the world's most powerful facial recognition system. The nation is due to be equipped with 626 million CCTV cameras by 2020. The ministry claims the move would help improve the country's internet security and combat terrorism. Chinese citizens are also banned from reselling their SIM cards by the regulation to prevent unregistered users from making calls from mobile phones. China has been building the world's largest facial recognition surveillance system. The Big Brother style scheme is powered by hundreds of millions of AI street cameras aiming to identify any of the country's citizens within 3 seconds. As with all totalitarian regimes, it is the people that serve the government rather than the government serving the people, and that, I fear, is where we will all end up. Now in this video we've already seen a couple of times mentioned two terms, one being Big Brother and the other being Brave New World. Well, the term Big Brother comes from George Orwell, his book 1984, which was published actually in 1949. The story centres on the risks of government overreach, totalitarianism and repressive regimentation of all persons and behaviours within society. Brave New World, on the other hand, comes from Aldous Huxley's book, which is also a dystopian novel written in 1931, published in 1932, and set in a futuristic world state inhabited by genetically modified citizens and an intelligence-based social hierarchy. The novel anticipates huge scientific advancements in reproductive technology, sleep learning, psychological manipulation, and classical conditioning that are combined to make a utopian society. But both Aldous Huxley and George Orwell were really Illuminati puppets, writing of the plans for a new world order. And interestingly, they both knew each other and knew each other well, because Aldous Huxley was George Orwell's French teacher at Eton College. And actually in 1949, George Orwell got a letter from his former French teacher Aldous Huxley, which basically said, "My hellish vision of the future is better than yours," because they had quite different pictures of the future. We have George Orwell's Orwellian state in Big Brother, and we have Aldous Huxley's kind of amused to death, entertained to enjoy their slavery kind of state. And really, I think that what is happening, though, is we have both of these things happening. They are simultaneously happening, and that is how they are bringing in the New World Order. The two men just presented two sides of one coin. George Orwell, who wrote 1984, his real name was Eric Blair, was educated at Eton. Both Aldous Huxley and George Orwell were part of the Fabian Society, which is a society to bring in socialism slowly. The Fabian Society was named after a Roman general who employed strategies to wear down his enemies over a long period of time. And this is like how the global agenda has been playing out. We're moving towards socialism, which is the heart of Fabianism. The Fabian Society created the London School of Economics and Political Science and had other members like H.G. Wells and George Bernard Shaw. George Orwell's book 1984 is actually the 100th year anniversary date of the Fabian Society. The Fabian Society's crest is a wolf in sheep's clothing, and they also use the tortoise as a motto, I think for obvious reasons on that one. The Rothschilds and the Rockefellers have been allies of the Fabian Socialists since the early days. In fact, David Rockefeller wrote a thesis on the Fabian Society at Harvard. The Fabian Society were supporters of the League of Nations and the United Nations, and don't forget, these people want a socialist world government at the core of their belief system. And I can't verify this, but I believe that the Fabian Society supposedly actually controls the copyright of the book 1984. It's more than coincidental too that 1984 was published by Frederick Warburg, and how many Illuminists with the name of Warburg are there who have been influential in the field of politics and finances, controlled by the globalists' secret societies. While technological singularity may still be some way off, already robots and artificial intelligence are taking away jobs from people, and that is likely to only increase in the coming years.
If this artificial intelligence becomes super intelligent and learns through and is connected to the internet, well, we can't just shut down the entire internet. There's no off switch. So what happens if we end up stuck with AI that is constantly and exponentially getting smarter than we are? What if it gets to a point that us humans get in the way, and the AI hits the off switch on humanity?
The technological singularity is a hypothetical date at which the machines that we're building become smarter than we are and begin to accelerate and take on their own evolution, going into an exponential rate. Scientists used to think we were decades away from achieving the singularity. However, recent advancements in artificial intelligence that they thought were decades away have actually come to fruition, suggesting that the singularity could in fact be closer than we believe.
If AI is much smarter than a person, what do we do?
It's a little bit hypocritical to me, because at the same time they're warning against it, they're investing millions upon millions of dollars in artificial intelligence. Their companies are now based on artificial intelligence, and they hope to make billions, if not trillions of dollars off this technology.
In other videos, I've covered transhumanism and the scary move towards wanting to integrate humans with machines and put chips in people's brains and so on. People like Ray Kurzweil I've covered before, so I won't go into that again in this video. But I was thinking about Revelation chapter 13, for example, where it says in verse 14 and 15, "And he deceives those who dwell on the earth by those signs which he was granted to do in the sight of the beast, telling those who dwell on the earth to make an image to the beast who was wounded by the sword and lived. And he was granted power to give breath to the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause as many as would not worship the image of the beast to be killed." In the past, it would have been impossible for the image of the beast to appear to be alive. And I don't think it's just television or something even. To me, this whole movement now with artificial intelligence and transhumanism, it becomes quite clear that this may be how it comes to pass, that the image of the beast being alive and able to be worshipped could very well be this singularity and transhumanism and artificial intelligence, and how it all fits together we shall have to see. But I see the beast very likely arising from this whole system that is being put into place with this technology today. And one of the important things to realize is it says in verse 14 that he deceives those who dwell on the earth by those signs he's granted to do. And in 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, 9 to 12, it talks about the coming of the lawless one is according to the working of Satan, and it talks about there being a strong delusion that they should believe the lie. So it's very important to realize that a strong delusion and a lie is going to be the basis of the beast system, and I think it's becoming clearer and clearer that artificial intelligence, robotics and transhumanism is going to play a big role in that end times beast deception. And in Revelation 13, 16 to 18, remember it tells us that he causes all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and slave, to receive a mark on or in their right hand or on or in their foreheads, that no one may buy or sell except one who has the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. So folks, it's important now to understand, to Pray for wisdom to read the Word of God and so not to be deceived by this coming lawless deception and the beast or antichrist system that is already being set in motion and will culminate with the man of sin being revealed. And avoid churches or teachers that say that end time prophecies have already been fulfilled, or not to take them literally, or that don't take any notice of the fact that these signs are unfolding now. Stay away from them. Please like and share this video, and also visit aminutemidnight.com. We run A Minute to Midnight 100% by donations, and we really appreciate it when people do donate to the Minute to Midnight, because we can't run this without your help. This is Tony saying goodbye, and hopefully we'll catch you again soon with more videos.